Hi guys, it's Emily from Nobel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is the book snack tag. Now, I was tagged to do this by Alex Black absolutely ages ago, but I am really far behind on tags. But just to give you all a heads up, I have slots available for, I think it's probably going to be like February time now, because I'm literally all my January TBRs are done. Let's have a look. Oh yes, I've got one slot for February, so if anyone wants to tag me, please feel free. There is one slot available for the end of February now, but then I'm going to my March videos, and I am looking forward to March already. So I know this is a tag video, so I better get this done. I'll do that in a minute. I'm trying to think, my channel plans are going crazy. Anyway, I was tagged to do this by the lovely Alex, and I thought it was such a fun tag. I will tag some people at the end, but if there are other people that want to do this, please feel free and let me know and tag me in it and everything else. Straight away, before I do anything else, I'm going to shout out that Danny from Danny's Book World is back on BookTube. Please subscribe to her. She is going to get tagged at the end. But before I do anything else, I just want to shout that lady out because she's one of my BookTube besties and I love her dearly. So, check her out. So, because the prompts for this are quite long worded and I have got so much on my plate, I am going to link Alex's video with the prompts in it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be lazy, but I've got a lot on. So this is quite a fun tag video. And how I'm going to do tags are now, rather than thinking too much about all the prompts, I literally just wrote it down and then read and chose the first book that I thought suited the prompts. So hopefully they were okay. Hopefully it's all not too rambly, not too fun, not too short and sweet. But I hope you enjoy this. Prompt number 1, Sweet. The chocolate chip cookie of books. Pick a book that's warm-hearted, uplifting and makes you less cynical about the world. First book that came to mind for that was Anne of Green Gables. Because let's be honest, it is one of my favourite books ever. It is so warm, so hot, so like snuggly in books. And it just made me like full of hope. Anne is one of those characters that literally fills me with hope, fills me with love, takes me back to my childhood and makes me smile. So this is literally the perfect book for this. Salty. Inherently craveable. Pick a book or series that you couldn't stop reading or reaching for. Now, I've only read this series once, but it's a series that I loved and was gutted when I heard that it was finishing, and that is the Noughts and Crosses series. I actually started this series about 2 years ago, but every time a new book came out, I bought the new book straight away. I got so excited by it, and it was just literally like a hug in a book. No, not hug, but it was exciting. I think this book is such a thrilling series, and it's actually a series that kept going well past when I thought it was going to end. This is the Noughts and Crosses series by Malorie Blackman. Her most recent book for that got published last year, but it's a book that once you've started reading it, you don't want to stop. And it's one that I thoroughly, thoroughly loved. It is so exciting, so not what I would normally go for. Kind of dystopic because it's like better, and it tackles racism in a really real way, because if you think this is like the opposite to what is kind of deemed as racially prejudiced in this day and age, which is the whites are the underdogs and the blacks are the ones that sort of rule the countries. And this tackles prejudice in a really weird way, because it literally turned it on its sides. Because in this nation, everyone considers that the whites are more privileged. Certainly it was something that, certainly in the earlier days, that the whites were more privileged and the blacks were deemed as lesser. But hopefully we're turning that racial inequality on its head now. And that's sort of the why. But this is really interesting, and it's where, like, obviously at the start you've got Seppi, who is one of the crosses, so she is like black, and she is one of the privileged people, and her best friend Callum is a Nought, and he's classed as a second sister son, and it's their story at the start of this. You have to read this in series order, because if you don't, it will make no sense. So this is a series that's amazing. Cheesy. Like Cheeto dust, you can't escape the cheese. Pick a book that you love because of, or in spite of, its cheesiness. I read a lot of books that you would class as cheesy, contemporary books. You kind of have like the cheesiness. I could also say, I'm trying to think, because I picked a book. I picked a Heidi Swain book because it's very much a contemporary. It's a summer book. It's cozy. It's got the lovely romance in it. But a lot of Heidi Swain's books are cozy contemporaries and cheesy in that side. But they are also like, they do tackle other stuff. So in this one, Beth is part of the Nightingale. No, it's not the Nightingale Square series. Yeah, this is part of the Nightingale Square series. And Beth meets Eli, and there's like obviously a romance which is cheesy, but this is a book that I absolutely loved. It's a very summer book, but it's brilliant. But I'm just thinking that we've also got like Love on the Brain, which is quite a good sort of like fun, sort of sexy cheesy. So it depends on what sort of design of cheesiness you want. Whether you want like a cozy cheesy or a sexy saucy cheesy, that kind of thing. So that's very much I'm not sure what to make of that cheesy. I don't like the description of cheesiness in books because I like my cozy contemporaries, but you've also got saucy contemporaries. Is that cheesy? I don't know. Sorry. That's a very big discussion. I might do a discussion video on contemporaries actually. That's a really good idea. There you go. I'll do that. Okay. Next book, Deep Fried, number 4. You bit too soon into the hot batter and got burnt. Pick a book that hurt to read. Now, for me, I don't know whether it's like hurt as in, is hurt a bad thing when you're hurt to read, but is a book that you didn't like. I'm going to class this as what is a book that's very hard-hitting. So I'm going for one of my... But a lot of the books set in Auschwitz are very hard-hitting. And for me, this one was. And that's The Tattooist of Auschwitz. It's actually one I want to reread because I've just read the whole series. And it's one I probably will try and reread this year. And that is because it is very, very hard-hitting. And that part of it's hard to read because you're reading about what happened in Auschwitz. I've got a lot of Auschwitz books to read and I find them all very hard-hitting because of literally the setting of the concentration camps, what these people went through, the people that died in it. And this is quite a sort of true story-ish story by Heather Morris. And Heather Morris writes the most amazing books on that. So they are all very hard-hitting, so very hard to read. You need to read them in chunks. You need to read them at points of the day where it's not going to cause you to be traumatised and stuff. But yeah, that's the line I'm going for on hard-hitting. But prompt number 5, ice cold. Sometimes the snack you want can only come from the deep freezer. Pick a book that transports you to a cold place. I picked Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. But can I find my copy? Can I? Don't know what I've done with it, but it's a brilliant book. It's set in like Iceland and it's set really in a cold area. It tackles about it's a historical fiction book. It is absolutely amazing. I've read that book by Hannah Kent, but I believe she's written other ones. But one I tried to listen to on audiobook and I didn't get on with it. But Burial Rites is really good. It's about a woman who is deemed a murderer and she is sent to live with these people and she knows she will get until she gets killed, and I can't remember exactly how, but it's very good, very hard-hitting, very interesting because like you kind of don't want her to get killed, but she's kind of accepting that that's her fate. She's deemed to be getting executed for a murder. So that's it. But it's a very good book set in a very cold climate. Brilliant book. Sour, number 6. Some things are too sour to keep a straight face. Pick a book that made you make faces while reading. Now I'm going to take this as funny faces and sad faces. So I'm going to pick a book that was both very happy, very sad, and just really interesting, and it gave me all the emotions, and that is Royally Doris by Charles Heathcote. I will use any opportunity I can to shout out my amazing friend. I read his I beta read his copy before it got published, and I'm rereading it when it's fully published in March, and it is absolutely incredible. I both laughed and cried and pulled all the faces when I was reading this because Charles Heathcote is one of the best writers, and it's not just saying that because he's one of my good friends, but this book gave me more tears than I expected, but it did also make me laugh. so much because Charlie is one of the best comedic writers ever. But like I said, I didn't expect to do laughing and crying and like shocked faces, and there was twists in this that I didn't expect. Charlie gave me all of this, but you do need to read all the other Doris books before you read this. So Charlie from from both Charles Heathcote and my sister Charlie are both running the read along of the Doris series. Check them out. If you want all the faces, all the laughters, all the tears, read all his books. So there you go. The next one, number 7, a healthy snack. You picked this up because it was good for you. Pick a book that you read to improve yourself in some way. I actually need to read this again. I got it sent here for an LPR product by Tandem, and that is You Will Get Through the Night. And this is a book about mental health, and it's a very practical mental health book. Probably do need to read it more because sometimes my mental health is not always great. But this does talk about mental health in a very real way, and it does actually give you really good hints. I could also have picked The Comfort Book by Matt Haig, but that's more sort of shorter bits, whereas this is actually a really good book on mental health, and it does show you mental health in a really real way. It's written by Daniel Howe, and it's got different steps and different very good introductions. It does help tackle mental health very well. And I thought it was really interesting, and there's different sections on it, and I'm trying to think about see if there's a doodah bit about it. But yeah, you do use this in different stages, and it's about, you've got understanding mental health, you've got the night, so different things, and it's got so many good hints and so many good, so it's a really good book on mental health. And I think there needs to be, there aren't many books that sort of really give you really good helping hints to how to cope with mental health. You all know that mental health is something I struggle with sometimes. I've got anxiety and depression, and this book's really good, and I do need to reread it. But yeah, it was one that when I read it, I was like, finally I felt very understood, and I felt that there was very practical hints, and it does talk about it really well. So that's a really good book for that. And then lastly, Juicy. Like an orange or a watermelon, some snacks have plenty of pieces to share. Pick a book that is profoundly shareable, a book that you want others to read. I'm picking Careless by Kirsty Capes. There are so many books I could recommend. Obviously, I will link my top books of 2022 down below. But this is a brilliant, brilliant book. And it's one that's kind of historically fiction-y a little bit because it's set in like the 80s, although it shouldn't be historical fiction. But it's a great book, really emotional, fantastic. I literally could speak about so many other books. Like they've also got like Shuggie Bain, Page Toon books, so many books that I would recommend. And obviously I will link, like I said, for this I probably will link I'll say this book as the main book, but I will link my top books of 2022 down below because that's the best book way to recommend books. And then lastly, number 9, the snack pack. Everyone wins when you swap and share your snack. Tag some friends to do this tag. My sister Charlie from Charlie Book doesn't want to be, doesn't like get me tagging her and everything, but I'm linking her video, her channel, because of doodahs. This is how Doris readathon. But I am going to tag Danny from Danny's Book World. Like I said, shout her out, check her out, she's amazing. Jem from Gemma Books, because I think this is a really good fun Gem tag. Alice from Alice's Book, Alice's Giant Bookshelf and Giant Bookshelf. I think she would think this is funny. Then booking with Deborah, because Deborah's a lovely lady and I think she would find this quite a fun tag to do. She's recently back on BookTube after a little break. Check her out. But if you want to do it anyway, do it because it would be quite fun. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.